Carl Gustav Jung was born in 1875 in Kesswil, Switzerland, a small village nestled by the serene waters of Lake Constance. His father, Paul Jung, was a pastor who instilled in him a deep sense of spirituality and a curiosity about the unseen world. But Jung's childhood wasn't always easy. He often felt different, like he had two separate personalities. This duality made him introspective and curious about his own mind. This early understanding of his inner world would later shape his groundbreaking ideas about psychology, particularly his theories on the collective unconscious and archetypes. Jung's interest in the human mind led him to study medicine at the University of Basel, where he graduated in 1900. His medical training provided a solid foundation for his later work in psychiatry. After finishing medical school, Jung started working at the Burgoldsli Psychiatric Hospital in Zurich, a leading centre for psychiatric research at the time. Working with the famous psychiatrist Eugen Bleuler, he delved deeply into the study of the unconscious mind, exploring the complexities of mental illness. This time was really important for Jung's understanding of mental illness and the hidden parts of the human mind. His experiences at Burgoldsli were crucial in shaping his future theories. In 1902, he went to Paris to study with Pierre Janet, a pioneer in the field of psychology. This experience broadened his knowledge and exposed him to new ideas. Jung's early career was all about understanding how the mind works. He was particularly interested in the ways unconscious processes influence behavior. He carefully studied dreams, fantasies, and the unconscious things that affect how people act. His meticulous research laid the groundwork for his later theories on dream analysis. His work at Burgoldsli and his studies in Paris helped him make big discoveries in psychology. These experiences were instrumental in forming his unique perspective on the human psyche. It was during this time that Jung started to develop his own ideas, which would later be very different from Freud's ideas. His relationship with Freud was complex and would eventually lead to a significant professional split. By 1905, Jung was becoming known as a good doctor and researcher, so he started teaching at the University of Zurich. His academic career allowed him to influence a new generation of psychologists. This was the start of his long and important career as a professor, where he would challenge old ideas about psychology and develop his own way of understanding the human mind. His teachings and writings would leave a lasting legacy in the field of psychology. In 1906, something important happened in the history of psychology. Carl Jung sent a copy of his book to Sigmund Freud, who was already a well-known figure in the field. This simple act started a complicated and eventually difficult relationship between two of the most important people in psychology. Freud, already famous in Vienna, was immediately impressed with Jung's work and innovative ideas. He saw in the young Swiss psychiatrist someone who shared his passion for figuring out the mysteries of the unconscious mind. They started writing letters to each other and quickly became good friends, talking for hours and sharing their ideas. They met for the first time in Vienna in 1907 and spent 13 hours talking about their theories and visions for the future of psychology. This meeting made them even closer and started a time of working together that shaped the early days of psychoanalysis. Jung and Freud worked together to share their new ideas about the unconscious mind, often presenting their theories at conferences. They traveled to the United States in 1909, giving lectures at Clark University and introducing Americans to psychoanalysis. Working together helped spread their ideas and brought psychoanalysis to a wider audience. But even though they seemed to get along well, they had different ideas about the unconscious mind. Jung was starting to develop his own theories, which were different from Freud's, focusing more on the collective unconscious. These differences, small at first, would eventually cause a big problem in their friendship and careers, leading to a significant rift. As Jung did more research and worked with patients, his ideas became increasingly different from Freud's. This divergence was not just minor but fundamental, affecting the core of their psychological theories. One major disagreement was about the concept of the collective unconscious. Freud focused on the individual unconscious, which he believed was shaped primarily by personal experiences and repressed memories. Jung, on the other hand, thought there was a larger universal unconscious shared by all humans. He believed this collective unconscious contained archetypes, which are like universal symbols and patterns of behavior that appear across cultures and time periods. He argued that these archetypes showed that humans share a deep psychological history, one that transcends individual experiences. Another significant difference was how they understood libido. Freud thought libido was mostly sexual energy, the main driving force behind human behavior and psychological issues. Jung, however, thought libido was a more general life force. This included sexual desires, but also encompassed creative and spiritual energy, which he believed were equally important. This fundamental difference in how they understood libido led to significant changes in their theories about personality and well-being. Jung's focus on spirituality and Eastern philosophies further strained their relationship. Freud, who was committed to a scientific and empirical approach to psychology, didn't appreciate Jung's growing interest in mysticism and religion. Freud thought these interests were not rational and could potentially harm the credibility of psychoanalysis. These theoretical disagreements, combined with personal issues and professional competition, created a growing rift between them. Their once close friendship became very strained, filled with frequent arguments and growing resentment. The stage was set for dramatic changes in the world of psychology as the two giants of the field moved further apart. So, let's talk about one of Carl Jung's most interesting ideas, the collective unconscious. It's, the idea that under our personal unconscious, there's a deeper part of the mind that we all share. Jung believed that this collective unconscious is made up of archetypes, which are like universal symbols and themes that show up in different cultures and time periods. He thought these archetypes shape our experiences and how we act in big ways. It's pretty cool to think that we all share this pool of knowledge and images that affects us without us even knowing. Carl Jung introduced some really important ideas that are still used in psychology today. These include the collective unconscious, archetypes, and individuation. The collective unconscious is the part of our unconscious mind that we share with everyone else. Archetypes are universal symbols and images that come from the collective unconscious. Individuation is the process of bringing together our conscious and unconscious minds to become whole and understand ourselves better. Jung's ideas are important for more than just psychology. His ideas have influenced philosophy, religion, literature, and even pop culture. His work on the collective unconscious and archetypes has been really important for art, inspiring lots of writers, artists, and filmmakers. Jung's exploration of the human mind has helped us understand how complicated humans are. Even today, Jung's theories are still important. His ideas about the shadow, the anima and animus, and synchronicity help us understand what it means to be human. The shadow is the unconscious part of our personality that we don't see in ourselves. The anima and animus are the male and female parts of our psyche. Synchronicity is the idea that meaningful coincidences happen even if they don't seem connected. These ideas are used by therapists and for personal growth. The relationship between Freud and Jung is one of the most interesting in the history of psychology. They started out as close colleagues, but their different ideas eventually caused them to split up. Freud focused on how sexuality affects mental problems, while Jung had a broader view of the unconscious. Even though they disagreed, both Freud and Jung changed how we understand the mind.